Hello, guys. Welcome. Today we are going to continue with where we left off on our last class. Today we will continue with a new set of vocabulary words. This time is actually Unit 27 about sound waves from the same resource that we've been looking at, which is Grammar and Vocabulary for First and First for Schools. So here we go. Let me go ahead and share with you the resource that we've been using. Okay, this is music and sounds. Okay, so normally when we have a writing or a speaking piece, we usually talk about what kind of music do you listen to? What do you do in your free time? Maybe you can tell me that you can play a musical instrument. Maybe you can say that you like to listen to music. I could ask what kind of music you like to listen to. Okay, so definitely knowing vocabulary about this genre or about these topics, it's going to give you a heads up on um, how to use more vocabulary, enrich your vocabulary in order to be able to answer better. Yeah. So here we have a few words. And again, like I said, when we started with Unit 26, if there are words that we do not understand or that we do not know, I've never heard of them, we don't know how they're pronounced or anything like that, definitely you can refer back to the Cambridge Dictionary, where you can find not only the meaning, but also what part of speech the word is, and you can even listen to the way it should be pronounced. Some words even have a American pronunciation versus British pronunciation. So definitely very, very useful. Okay. And in this case, I would like for you to recognize which one is the odd one in each group. Okay. In number one, we have choir, composer, conductor, guitarist, orchestra. Which one is the odd one out? The one that is completely different from the others. Okay. So choir has to do with music. Composer has to do with songs. A conductor, weird. I don't think it has to do with anything related to music or anything like that. A guitarist, yes, it has to do with it. An orchestra, definitely so. So definitely the odd one out, the one that's not the same, would probably be the conductor one. Okay. Here we go to number two. In number two, we have beat, lyrics, rhythm. I know that the word rhythm has a very particular spelling, but it's pronounced rhythm. Okay. Chapter and then tune. Beat, we're talking about the sound. Lyrics, we're talking about la letra de una canción, lyrics. Rhythm, ritmo. Chapter, we're talking about a unit. And then tune, which is also has to do with sounds. So definitely the odd one out here is okay. So if you don't know the meaning of any of these words, it is super important that we look it up. Let's look up the word choir, maybe. You don't know the meaning of that word, and tune. And let's look it up. I'm going to stop sharing really fast because I would like for you to accompany me in the whole process of going through Cambridge Dictionary. And I'm going to walk you through the whole process because it is important that you know how to use a Cambridge Dictionary, yeah? So you go to any kind of Google website, search bar, and then you're going to put down, for example, Cambridge Dictionary. Enter. And then the first one that you're going to come up with is this one, Cambridge Dictionary. You click on there. Again, you need a Gmail account in order to create your own user, your account. And then, of course, you need to log in. so that you can create your own words list. Okay. So I'm going to log in with Google. I'm going to use my personal account. I'm going to use my personal account because the one from SPOL is actually an office account. It's not a Google account. So, okay, you can always go to dictionary and it should open up the meaning of any word. You can write down the word, choir, enter. For example, we're going to look up the word choir. And here you're going to listen to the pronunciation for British English.
Choir.
Choir, choir. And then from American pronunciation.
Choir.
Choir. Okay, so definitely that is the correct pronunciation. Now, what is it? What does it stand for? What part of speech it is? Choir definitely is a B2 kind of level word. It's a group of people who sing together. Coro. Okay, so we have a choir in schools, we have choir at church, we have choir at the universities. It's basically a group of people that love singing. That's a choir. And I'm going to add the word to my list. I already have created a B2 first list, so I select it, and it automatically will add up onto that one. Yes, what was another word that we were looking at? Tune. Let's look up tune. What is the meaning of that word? I can go again here. Erase what I put down. I'm going to put tune. Go there. Going to look it up.
Tune.
Tune. Okay, just like the iTunes, the application iTunes. Yeah. And tune is musical notes, a series of musical notes, especially one that is pleasant and easy to remember, una melodía, a tune. Yeah? So again, I'm going to add up this word to my list. Okay, so definitely this helps you to know which words. Note that we can use them in other kinds of situation and contexts, so that you can know how it's being used in your context or in whatever it is that you're reading it on. So let's go back to our resource again. Yeah. And now what we're going to do a listening activity. We're going to listen to a woman talking about music, and we need to go ahead and listen to this listen to this audio and try to answer these questions. Is she musical? Does she come from a musical family? Can she play a musical instrument? Has she ever sung in a choir? Does she ever go to concerts? So we're going to listen. We're going to listen 2 times. And then, of course, we're going to check the answers together, okay? So for this reason, I am going to share the sound here. You're going to listen to the audio 2 times, okay? So I play it once and then you listen again. Okay, let's listen to the audio.
Unit 27. Recording 33.
I've always been able to sing in tune. My father has no interest in music, but the rest of us have always counted it among our hobbies and enjoy playing and listening to music. I love picking out a tune on the piano, although I've never really learnt to play properly. I got to quite a high standard in cello and violin though. And when I was at school, I sang solo in the school choir. I wouldn't want to do that now, but I do belong to a rock choir, which I just love. Unfortunately, I hardly ever get to go and hear other people playing in concerts, as I live a long way from the nearest town. But I sometimes make a special trip with a friend. I've always got something playing in the car too, or else I have my headphones on. I'm really into classical music, but I also adore rock and world music too.
All right, now you will listen again.
Unit 27. Recording 33.
I've always been able to sing in tune. My father has no interest in music, but the rest of us have always counted it among our hobbies and enjoy playing and listening to music. I love picking out a tune on the piano, although I've never really learnt to play properly. I got to quite a high standard in cello and violin though. And when I was at school, I sang solo in the school choir. I wouldn't want to do that now, but I do belong to a rock choir, which I just love. Unfortunately, I hardly ever get to go and hear other people playing in concerts, as I live a long way from the nearest town. But I sometimes make a special trip with a friend. I've always got something playing in the car too, or else I have my headphones on. I'm really into classical music, but I also adore rock and world music too.
Okay, so here we're going to look at, let me stop the share. And we're going to go on to the book again. Okay. It says, listen to a woman talking about music. Is she musical? The answer is yes. Does she come from a musical family? The answer should be yes, because they play the cello and the violin. So let me go ahead and so we are going to say yes. Okay. Can she play a musical instrument? The answer is yes. Yes, she can play the cello and the violin. Number 4, has she ever sung in a choir? She says yes, but she doesn't really want to do that again, right? She said that she doesn't want to do that again. And does she ever go to concerts? The answer is yes, but only occasionally. She doesn't go very often. Yeah, so that is something to keep in mind. Okay. Now we're going to listen again to the audio. This time we're going to complete the woman's statements. You're going to listen with the purpose of completing these 6 lines. Before we actually listen to the audio one more time, we're going to read the sentences so we know what to expect. Again, when we have gaps and we are about to listen, I definitely suggest that you first kind of know what could go there in those spaces, so that way you're expecting to hear something related, and then it's not so difficult for you to write it down because you're already expecting something of that sort. Yeah, so it says complete the woman's statements, then listen again to check. I've always been able to sing in tune. The rest of us, space, our hobbies. I in cello and violin. When I was at school, I in the school choir. I with a friend. I've in the car. Or else I have space. So go ahead and listen again and try to complete these sentences. Again, you listen to it 2 times.
Unit 27. Recording 33.
I've always been able to sing in tune. My father has no interest in music, but the rest of us have always counted it among our hobbies and enjoy playing and listening to music. I love picking out a tune on the piano, although I've never really learnt to play properly. I got to quite a high standard in cello and violin though. And when I was at school, I sang solo in the school choir. I wouldn't want to do that now, but I do belong to a rock choir, which I just love. Unfortunately, I hardly ever get to go and hear other people playing in concerts, as I live a long way from the nearest town. But I sometimes make a special trip with a friend. I've always got something playing in the car too, or else I have my headphones on. I'm really into classical music, but I also adore rock and world music too.
All right, so now you are going to listen to the audio one more time. Remember that we're filling in the exercise 1.3, okay? Listen carefully.
Unit 27. Recording 33.
I've always been able to sing in tune. My father has no interest in music, but the rest of us have always counted it among our hobbies and enjoy playing and listening to music. I love picking out a tune on the piano, although I've never really learnt to play properly. I got to quite a high standard in cello and violin though. And when I was at school, I sang solo in the school choir. I wouldn't want to do that now, but I do belong to a rock choir, which I just love. Unfortunately, I hardly ever get to go and hear other people playing in concerts, as I live a long way from the nearest town. But I sometimes make a special trip with a friend. I've always got something playing in the car too, or else I have my headphones on. I'm really into classical music, but I also adore rock and world music too.
All right, so now we should be able to fill in. We should be able to fill in. Let's take a look at it. Oops. Okay, let's take a look at it. I'm going to stop share, and I'm going to share the book again, so we can double check our answers. I've always been able to sing in tune. That means that you sing very well. The rest of us have always counted among our hobbies. Have always counted it among. And let me write it down for you. Have always counted it among. I got to quite a high standard. Got to quite a high standard. That means that you're very good, right? Got to quite a high standard. That means that you're good or bad in playing the music. You're actually very good. High standards means that is very good. Not just regular, but high standards, yeah? Now, number 4, when I was at school, in the school choir, I sang solo. I sang solo in the school choir. Sang solo means that you will do an event in which you sing by yourself. You're not accompanied by the choir, you're singing by yourself. A space in which you sing by yourself, yeah? Number 5, I with a friend. I sometimes make a special trip. I sometimes make a special trip. Yeah. I've in the car, or else I've always got something playing, my headphones on. Always got something playing in the car. I have always got something playing in the car, or else I have my headphones on. My headphones on. Okay. So that is what you should have heard. I know that writing down all that you listen to is a difficult task. However, it is really important, especially for these type of questions, that you read before listening to the audio so that you know what to expect. Yes, and sometimes you don't listen exactly what they say. Yes, so you also have to like kind of understand what is it that you need in that space. Sometimes it's not, you're not going to hear exactly what you have in writing, but you need to be able to identify the important stuff and to be able to comprehend what is it that's missing. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep your mind on. All right, so there we go. So now we're going to go back. Oopsie, oops. And in here, we're going to do a bit of a reading exercise. We're going to read the music reviews below and match the types of music with their reviews. Yeah, we have rock, we have pop, we have classical and world music. Okay, and then we have 4 different paragraphs and we need to match them up with the correct kind. Okay, so here we go. We got number 1, which says, having produced an album of African rumba tunes, the group have turned to Cuba for inspiration, but instead of using the original lyrics, they've added their own. The rhythm and lead guitars and the variety of arrangements effectively maintain interest, a brilliant addition to their repertoire. Okay, so which one comes from African rumba tunes? Okay, so that is one to keep in mind. Number 2, this album is built around the work of legendary composers Anderson and Olvis, whose songs defined much of the 20th century music. Yet, their fans may be surprised by these arrangements, old favorites, which catchy tunes from the 1970s and 1980s are effortlessly transformed into the band's own distinctive style, with some pleasing harmonies, but this one is for your collection. Okay. Number 3, this is much better than their first album, and nothing here is a cover version. Some of the tracks feature heavy metal guitar solos, and the drums are alive with rhythm. A marvelous album that gets better with every listening. And finally, number 4, this is an album of Argentinian chamber songs written in the early 1900s and exquisitely accompanied by violins. There's everything here from a beautiful duet to a passionate tango. It's all superbly recorded and packaged with an imagination and care that do the designers credit. Fantastic. So go ahead and take a look at this, okay? And let's do the matching. Okay, I'm going to also do a screenshot. So I could probably share it. I could probably share it with you guys on the I could probably share with you guys in for WhatsApp. I'm going to do WhatsApp. Okay. All right. And then again, I'm going to go back to the page so we can take a look at it. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the book review. Okay, I'm going to allow you a few minutes so you can look at it, and then we're going to check the answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, there are a few things that we need to pay attention to. Like maybe we don't know which one to follow. I mean, we don't know, have any idea. And that is totally okay, but definitely we need to pay attention to the things that we do know and go off of that, okay? And then make the best of it. Like you're not always going to know exactly what to do in each paragraph. So what it is very important right now is that you at least check the things that you do know. For example, in this case, let's look at number 1. It says having produced an album of African rumba tunes. So this is something important probably. So we're going to go ahead and highlight the stuff that is relatively important. For example, here we have, it has African rumba tunes. Okay. Highlighted. The group have turned to Cuba for inspiration, but instead of using original lyrics, they've added their own. The rhythm and lead, one second. Okay, so besides the African rumba tunes, we are going to go and look at other things that it has. It has guitars, variety of arrangements, maintain interest. In number 2, it talks about legendary composers, old favorites, 70s and 80s. Okay, this is much better than their first album and nothing is cover version. So I just feature heavy metal guitar solos, drums alive with rhythm. Okay, this is an album of Argentinian chamber songs in the early 1900s. Beautiful duet, recorded and packaged in imagination, care, and designer's credit. Okay. Now, with the things that we highlighted, now we need to make a decision. Okay. Let's see here. Number 1 talks about African rumba tunes, maintaining interest, goes from Cuba, inspiration. Okay, so definitely it has to do with world music. So in here, Number 1 is actually world music. Okay. Number 2, this album is built around the work of legendary composers. Legendary composers. Okay. So in here it is pop, number 2. Classical. It says heavy metal guitar solos, and automatically we know that this is rock music. Right? And that will leave number 4 for classical, which is for number 4. So 3, 2, 4, and 1. And those are the correct answers, guys. Again, let me go ahead and do a screenshot so that I can share with you guys. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there it is. Now let's continue with the next activity. Look at the words in bold in the reviews. Find the correct words for these definitions. So let's go back to the reviews and let's look at the words that are in bold, in negritas, okay? Which are the words that are in bold? Here we have the words, for example, album, lyrics, composers, fans, old favorites, distinctive style, harmonies, cover version, tracks, and duet. All of those are actually the words in bold. Now, I wanted us to check, because now that I checked the answers, I checked that we did something wrong here. Where we said choir, composer, conductor, guitarist, orchestra, the odd one out here was actually composer. And the reason for that, I know that's kind of weird, right? Here the answer is composer, and then here is chapter. And the reason for that is that let me show you 1 second. Yes, and the reason for that is that a composer writes music and the others perform the music. So that's the difference between those two words. Yeah. I mean, between all of the rest of the words. The rest of the words can perform music while composers write music, and that's the difference, okay? So I wanted to double check that so that you knew the correct answers. Okay. Moving on to the next page, we're going to talk about all the words that we saw earlier. And in here, we have duet, we have lyrics, we have composers, we have, let me see what else we have. Fans, old favorites, distinctive style, harmonies. Fans, old favorites, distinctive style, Cover version. Tracks. Okay, what else? Harmonies, and that's an album. Harmonies and album. Okay, so now, a song sung by two people is a duet. Definitely. Yes? Number two, a combination of voices singing together in tune. What is that? A combination of voices singing together in tune. Duet, lyrics, composers, fans, old favorites, cover version, tracks, harmonies, album, or distinctive style. What is the correct answer here for number two? You're right, harmonies. Yes, harmonies is the correct answer here. Oopsie. So harmonies is two people that are a combination of two voices singing together in tune. A collection of recordings. Which one is a collection of recordings? It's an album. Okay, people who write music, we know this one. This one is easy because it sounds like in Spanish. Composers. Individuals recorded songs. Individual recorded songs, what are those? Individual recorded songs. Those are tracks. A re-recording of another musician's song. That's a cover version, right? A lot of people do cover versions and then they upload them onto YouTube. Yes. And then they're doing a cover version of a song or something like that. The special way someone does something is a distinctive style. Distinctive style. It's just a specific way that you do something. Doesn't necessarily have to be better or worse, it's just different, okay? Number 8, people who are really keen on a particular singer or group. That means that you are a fan. So these are fans. Familiar songs that everyone likes. Familiar songs that everyone likes are all the old favorites. And the words written for a song are the lyrics. When you are going to sing a karaoke bar, you have all the lyrics there. It's easy to sing, right? So lyrics. And there you have it. Okay. Again, these words, we got them from the previous activity, from all the words that were in bold. Okay. Now it says use words and expressions from 2.1 and 2.2 to write a short description of an album you particularly like. And in this case, I want you to do something different. Today, I want you to go ahead and record a video. Yeah. Because we're doing a lot of writing, and now I need to hear you speaking. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is that I want you to, instead of writing, I want you to tell me a short description of an album that you particularly like. Yeah. And how you're gonna do it? You're gonna do it with the vocabulary that you have been practicing in this unit, and that's going to be the activity that I would like for you to do. So I am going to create a Flipgrid activity And you can do that since I know we don't have any electricity, you can do it from your cell phone, no problem. Yeah. So I am going to show you how it will work. Okay. I am going to create a Flipgrid activity for you, and then you will be recording yourselves onto that. Give me a few minutes so that I can show you how to do that one. Okay, so I just very sadly learned that Flipgrid is no longer being used. So I could not ask you to record yourself on Flipgrid, but we have WhatsApp. So you can easily record yourself on your cell phones and send it to me, send me a short video of you using this vocabulary from 2.1 and 2.2 exercise that we have been looking at. And tell me about your favorite artist, your favorite song, your favorite album. Try to use as many of these words as possible. I want to make sure that I showed you the activity so that you kind of know what to do. It says use words and expressions from 2.1 and 2.2 to write a short description of an album you particularly like. It could be something like, I love how, for example, I'm going to go very classic on you guys. I love how Mark Anthony and La India, I love the harmonies that they use when they sing the song, the track Vivir lo Nuestro. Okay, I think they do it in a very distinctive style, the way they sing, the strong voice of La India, and the very nice lyrics that come in the song. I think the interpretation that Mark Anthony makes in the music is very nice. The composers made such a nice track that a lot of fans love. And for me now, I know it's an old favorite because it's a very old song, but it's a goodie. It's definitely the best duet that I have seen in a long time. You see, I used a lot of the words from 2.2 in that little short message. So try to do something similar in which you use as many words from 2.2 and 2.1 talking about your favorite track. It doesn't even, if you don't have a favorite song, make it up. Like right now, I just imagine something. I really do like Mark Anthony, like in La India, but this is just something that came up to me right now. Yeah, it could be whatever. Okay. All right, and here we're going to do another listening activity. We're going to listen to 4 people describing different kinds of music. Which type is each person describing? And here we have 4 possibilities: jazz, folk, rock and roll, and then country and western. So I'm gonna have you listen to the track and then try to describe people, which person is describing which of these kinds of music, okay? And for that, I'm going to be playing the audio again. I mean, a different audio this time, right? So,
Recording 34.
oopsie, wait. Let me make sure that we are there. And now, here we go. Let me go ahead and share the sound for this activity. Let's go. Here we go. We're gonna listen twice, okay?
Speaker 1.
I've loved it ever since I first heard Buddy Holly and Elvis Presley. It's great to dance to because the rhythm's so strong and your feet just go with it. I think the electric guitars you got then were great. And I love the clothes from that era, the full skirts and tight jeans. The 1950s had a great influence on all the music that followed.
Speaker 2.
My mates think it's really strange that it's my favourite kind of music, but I love it, especially played on a saxophone. It always creates such an atmosphere, and the voices of some of the singers are so rich. It all goes back to the US and the black musicians in New Orleans, but there are a lot of good artists in Britain today, and they're getting into the charts now too.
Speaker 3.
When I hear it, I always think of Texas. The songs all tell a story, something everyone can relate to. There are things about love and splitting up and having a hard life. Johnny Cash is probably the most famous singer, but a lot of the others have been women. The chorus is always important, so everyone can sing along. I enjoy singing to it when I'm driving.
Speaker 4.
Well, I go along to a club once a month to listen to it. It's often just 1 or 2 people with a guitar singing. You do get bands too, but you mostly hear them at festivals, and some of them have become well known. People write their own songs, or they play traditional songs from different regions that the audience know well and join in with. You get a real range of instruments like piano, accordions and whistles, as well as the more usual guitars and violins.
Okay, we're gonna listen one more time, okay? One more time.
Recording 34. Speaker 1.
I've loved it ever since I first heard Buddy Holly and Elvis Presley. It's great to dance to because the rhythm's so strong and your feet just go with it. I think the electric guitars you got then were great. And I love the clothes from that era, the full skirts and tight jeans. The 1950s had a great influence on all the music that followed.
Speaker 2.
My mates think it's really strange that it's my favourite kind of music, but I love it, especially played on a saxophone. It always creates such an atmosphere, and the voices of some of the singers are so rich. It all goes back to the US and the black musicians in New Orleans, but there are a lot of good artists in Britain today, and they're getting into the charts now too.
Speaker 3.
When I hear it, I always think of Texas. The songs all tell a story, something everyone can relate to. There are things about love and splitting up and having a hard life. Johnny Cash is probably the most famous singer, but a lot of the others have been women. The chorus is always important so everyone can sing along. I enjoy singing to it when I'm driving.
Speaker 4.
Well, I go along to a club once a month to listen to it. It's often just one or two people with a guitar singing. You do get bands too, but you mostly hear them at festivals, and some of them have become well known. People write their own songs, or they play traditional songs from different regions that the audience know well and join in with. You get a real range of instruments like piano, accordions, and whistles, as well as the more usual guitars and violins.
Okay, so now let's check the answers. I know there was a lot of information, perhaps you didn't get it all, but let's take a look at what could have been. Let me double check the correct answer. We have 4 options: jazz, folk, rock and roll, and country and western. They mentioned something about Texas, okay? And in Texas, they usually play country and western, yeah? For number 1, the first one that they talked about Elvis Presley. So definitely right away, we know that it is about rock and roll. The number 1 will stand out for rock and roll. Yes. And number 2, we are going to talk about jazz, the saxophone. That's one big key demonstrator that we're talking about jazz. And then here we say something about Texas, and that is country and western. Oopsie. And western. And finally, we got folk. Okay? So those are the correct answers there. I think we're going to make a stop here for now. We're going to definitely make a stop now. And we will continue next class, okay? Remember that we are practicing vocabulary about music and tunes, okay? Everything related to that kind of thing. Please do the activity that I sent in WhatsApp group, which is record yourself talking about your favorite song, artist, album, whichever thing. But make sure to use the vocabulary that we learned in 2.1 and 2.2 activity that I sent also in the WhatsApp group. That is it for today. Looking forward to listening and watching your videos. Hope everything is great. Have a wonderful rest of evening. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.